now, the search for a woman who hasn't been seen in nearly 3 weeks is picking back up after a possible new clue was discovered in the case.
Missing 31-year-old Paola Miranda Rosa coming to this spot after video taken by hikers December 18th shows her wading in the water.
It's just the last known sighting of her being alive, walking into that area.
Oh my God.
From being stranded at sea for 3 months, surviving on raw fish, to a toddler wandering alone in the wild. Ever imagined what it'd be like to be lost in the woods or adrift at sea? Let's have a look at the most insane survival rescue videos.
Alright, going up in 3, 2, 1.
In Shasta County, California, the Highway Patrol's Northern Division Air Operations Unit received a distress call on June 6, 2021. A father found himself swept down the treacherous Clear Creek Rapids while trying to save his son. With the aid of helicopter cameras, viewers got a 360-degree view of the intense rescue operation. The team spotted the father clinging to a large rock amidst the rushing waters, while his son was safely ashore. With precise coordination, the rescuer was lowered to the rocky outcrop, guided by the spotter's instructions. Despite the risks, the father emerged only with minor wounds after this crazy encounter.
And again, you're still not drifting, everything's looking good.
He was safely brought to solid ground, where he was met by awaiting rescue crews who tended to his wounds. Grateful to be alive, he shares a tale of survival against nature's forces.
And again, you're still not drifting, everything's looking good.
Air pocket survival.
No way to get to them, and I was right in the water and I know I'm going to die.
Imagine being trapped at the bottom of the ocean for 3 whole days. That's what happened to Harrison Okene when the Jaskin 4 tugboat he was on capsized off the coast of Nigeria. But here's the amazing part. He survived! Harrison used to work as a ship's cook. After the boat flipped, he ended up at a tiny air pocket with only torches and a few snacks to keep him going. Despite the terrifying situation, Harrison kept his cool.
I kept calm, and I was bold because I was not afraid anymore because I know it's life and death. The line is already drawn.
He knew that fear could be his worst enemy, so he stayed calm and made the most of his limited resources. When rescuers finally found him, they couldn't believe their eyes.
He's alive.
They saw him alive and well, sitting among the debris. This is 3 days after the shipwreck. Now, you'd think someone who went through all that would want to stay away from the ocean, right? Well, not Harrison. He's actually become a diver, facing his fears head on. He's out there repairing underwater structures and diving deeper than ever before. 3-year-old found safe.
A helicopter spots Anthony Alphalic, better known as AJ, kneeling in a creek bed trying to survive.
After 3 whole days lost in the Aussie wilderness, little Anthony was found safe and sound. A helicopter spotted him sitting by a creek, scooping up water to drink. Rescuers had been searching tirelessly, combing through the rugged woodland near their home. And finally, they found him kneeling in that creek bed. The joy his family felt when they heard the news was just incredible. For his mom, it was overwhelming. And his dad, well, he couldn't quite believe it. But hey, miracles do happen. Now that he was back home safe, it was time to throw a party. And the whole neighborhood was invited. Rescue on the trail.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. I got her by the foot.
Taylor Root was out for a picturesque trek in Oregon with his trusty GoPro strapped to his body. Suddenly, he heard cries coming from some distance. Racing toward the sound, he discovered a young woman desperately clinging to her mom, who had slipped down a steep incline.
Sorry, I'm pulling you up.
Mom, let him help.
Let your feet go down.
But here's the twist. The woman only has one arm, making it incredibly challenging for her to hold on. Can you imagine the terrible situation? With quick thinking and incredible strength, Taylor sprung into action. He refused to let the mom sacrifice herself and came up with a rescue plan, guiding her back to safety with determination and care.
Oh my God.
The whole moment was captured on camera, and for Taylor, It's a shining example of being in the right place at the right time. Cave divers rescue.
How you feeling?
Back in 2023, in the heart of Flynn's Lick, Tennessee, a rescue mission unfolded as a cave diver vanished without a trace. Ed Sorensen, a cave diver renowned for his daring rescues, went on a dangerous journey into the depths of the underwater cave to save the person. Ed navigates through the narrow passageways, following the faint glimmer of hope in search of the lost diver. With every twist and turn, the tension mounted as time ticked away. After an intense, hour-long search, a breakthrough emerges as Ed spots a shimmer on the water's surface, signaling an air pocket. With precision and skill, he guides the lost diver to safety, leading him back to the light at the end of the tunnel. High-flying rescue. In this crazy moment captured on camera, a helicopter swooped in to rescue a man stranded on a towering 500-foot cliff in California. It all began when a fisherman spotted the stranded man on Muscle Rock near Daly City in San Mateo County. Recognizing the dangerous situation, the California Highway Patrol called in an H-30 helicopter to assist. Despite battling strong winds, the skilled pilot maneuvered the helicopter close enough for an officer to be lowered down to the stranded man. After securing the man in a rescue harness, they were airlifted to a nearby landing zone where paramedics were waiting. Remarkably, the man emerged with only minor scrapes and bruises. "3 months adrift." Timothy Lindsay Shattuck was 54 years old when he, with his dog, had to spend 3 months all alone at the sea. His journey began in La Paz, Mexico, and he was bound for French Polynesia. His boat was almost destroyed by severe weather, leaving him and Bella to survive on raw fish and rainwater. Timothy was on board his incapacitated boat in the Pacific, about 1,200 miles from land, when the crew of a Mexican tuna boat spotted him. Despite the ordeal, Shattuck, accompanied by his dog Bella, appeared in good spirits. He even expressed his love for the ocean and thanked his rescuers.
I really didn't think I'd make it, so thank you so much.
The tuna boat crew provided essential medical care, food, and hydration upon discovering them. 49 days lost at sea. Next up, we have the story of 19-year-old Aldi, an Indonesian teen who was lost at sea for nearly 2 months. It all began when Aldi was working on a floating fishing trap miles offshore, when disaster struck. The trap broke free of its moorings, leaving Aldi stranded in the vast expanse of the ocean. With only a lamp and a radio, Aldi desperately tried to signal passing boats for help, but despite his efforts, no one noticed him. As days turned into weeks, his food supply ended, forcing him to rely on fish and seawater for survival. For 49 long days, Aldi battled exhaustion and hunger, but he clung to hope as he drifted over 1,000 miles from his original location. Finally, near Guam, his prayers were answered when the MV Arpeggio spotted him and came to his rescue. Incredible footage captured the moment rescuers pulled Aldi aboard their ship, wrapping him in a warm blanket and offering him much-needed food and water. Miracle in the tunnel.
Rescue of more than 40 construction workers trapped for weeks in a tunnel following a landslide.
Following a landslide in northern India, 41 workers were trapped inside a tunnel for 16 long days. Yep, that's more than 2 weeks. They were stuck in the Himalayan mountains with nowhere to go after tons of rocks and debris blocked their only escape. For days on end, they had to rely on a narrow pipe for food, water, and medicine. But finally, after endless roadblocks and failed drilling attempts, rescuers managed to clear the final stretch by hand. Can you believe it? They had just 6 feet to go. Talk about determination. And then they were wheeled out on stretchers through a tiny 3-foot wide pipe.
Who cleared the final stretch by hand. The workers were then wheeled out on stretchers through a 3-foot wide pipe.
Countless hours were spent trying to keep the workers alive, and after the 15th day, all of them were saved. No one could imagine the whole ordeal that they went through. But hey, they're alive, and that's what counts. Passengers rescued. In our next story, let's take to the Cook Islands in Micronesia, where members of the United States Navy were responding to a plane crash captured on one of the sailors' body cams. A Boeing 737 was seen floating in the lagoon after missing the runway during landing, with passengers still trapped inside. Nearby sailors conducting underwater construction operations rushed to the scene upon notification of the crash. With water pouring into the plane, they needed to act swiftly to rescue the passengers before it sank, amidst concerns of a fuel leak and potential explosion. Local boats joined in the rescue efforts, shuttling passengers to safety. Over 40 people were rescued, with 6 survivors taken to the hospital and eventually making full recoveries. Kudos to everyone involved in the rescue operation. Elderly woman found alive. In 2019, a 78-year-old woman missing near Alpine Lake was located after a thorough 4-day search. Concerns for her safety prompted an extensive effort involving a helicopter, search and rescue teams, firefighters, and community members. After the helicopter spotted her walking out of a wooded area, rescue teams swiftly reached her. Despite her ordeal, she was found in good spirits. Difficult terrain caused challenges, but the helicopter facilitated her safe transport. Following a medical assessment, she was airlifted to the hospital. Mid-air rescue.
This truck is hanging off the side of the bridge, and you can see right now a rescue operation is underway.
Let's now talk about a nail-biter. Just a while back, a truck was hanging right off the side of the Clark Memorial Bridge in Kentucky, with firefighters scrambling to save the day. So, there they were, the Louisville Fire Department swooping in to rescue someone in the truck. You could feel the tension in the air, but those firefighters were on it like superheroes. And guess what? Those brave souls managed to get the driver out safely. Props to the heroes of the day for risking it all to save a life. Paraglider stuck in tree. 1 minute you're flying high, the next you're in for a nosedive. A paraglider's joyride in Alabama ended abruptly after he got stuck in a tree. Rescuers got the call and hurriedly arrived on the scene. They quickly spotted the distressed paraglider and began the rescue mission. With the help of a cable, the officer came down near him. It was not a walk in the park, as the paraglider was swinging in the air, so the officers had to tread carefully. Despite all the odds, the officer managed to make contact with the man and hoisted him back to safety. Once rescued, the paraglider was relieved and started high-fiving, fist-bumping, and hugging everyone. Family reunited after 24 years.
Tears of joy and disbelief as this family in China was reunited after more than 2 decades.
Back in 1997, a 2-year-old kid was playing outside his home when he was abducted by a stranger. Despite the authorities' efforts, the search for his son proved fruitless. But the boy's parents refused to give up hope. His father, Guo Gantang, embarked on an extraordinary journey. For 24 years, he traveled across China on his motorcycle, tirelessly searching for his son. He handed out flyers, followed leads, and covered over 300,000 miles on his quest. After enduring numerous challenges and setbacks, including traffic accidents, Guo's determination finally paid off. Police in Henan province located a man matching his son's description. A DNA test confirmed his identity, and the family was reunited at last. The emotional reunion at the police station marked the end of a long and arduous journey, but it was just the beginning of making up for lost time. Kayakers to the rescue. A group of friends embarked on a leisurely kayak trip down the Lynn in Devon, UK. But what starts as a fun outing quickly turns into a risky business. As they navigate the rushing waters, one of their own, Mark Hardingham, finds himself in a dangerous predicament. He was pushed offline by the swift current and became trapped underwater, struggling for life. In a remarkable display of quick thinking, his friends sprang into action. With determination and teamwork, they managed to pull Mark out of harm's way, just in the nick of time. The GoPro footage captures the tense moments as Mark's friends rally to his rescue. Rescue at Niagara Falls.
All the elements were against the rescuers, the winds, the force of the water, everything. Niagara Falls is complex.
Next up, at Niagara Falls, a man found himself on the brink of disaster, caught between a rock and a 170-foot plunge into the raging waters below. Firefighter Gary Correa, who was no stranger to daring rescues, faced a heart-stopping challenge unlike any he had encountered before. With time ticking away, Gary and his team made their move, determined to reach the stranded man before it was too late. The situation grew increasingly risky as the man struggled to maintain his grip because of the crazy force of the water.
I grabbed onto his hand and pulled him as hard as I could. And I'm telling him, fight, try to kick your legs, and he's telling me I can't, I got nothing left.
Despite the odds, the rescue team refused to give up, even when faced with setbacks and near misses. In a moment of desperation, a daring helicopter maneuver offered a slim chance. With nerves of steel and unwavering determination, the team executed a breathtaking rescue, pulling the man to safety just moments before disaster struck. And against all odds, the man survived.
Chances of him surviving through this whole thing, I'd say it was 1,000,000 to 1 shot. I was absolutely amazed.
Jet suit rescue.
And lower leg injuries as described. Mount rescue team will.
Helicopter support isn't always feasible in every rescue scenario, so scientists decided to try something different. Enter the jet suit. In October 2022, Jamie Walsh, who was an emergency paramedic with the Great North Air Ambulance Service, flew in rain and strong winds for the first time while trying to fly an Iron Man-style jet suit for mountain rescues. Jamie was able to zip up the suit in just over 3 minutes and reach the 2 women who needed help in just a few more minutes. He applied the necessary medicines and was done quickly. Normally, a rescue mission like this would take hours, so this type of a development is of utmost importance.
And lower leg injuries as described. Mount rescue team will.
Power of social media.
A hiker who got lost in California's Angeles National Forest is now safe after a satellite mapping enthusiast used a single picture to find him.
In this next turn of events, a lost hiker in California's Angeles National Forest was rescued, all thanks to a savvy stranger and the power of social media. Yup, you heard that right. Rene Compine was reported missing in the San Gabriel Mountains. He sent a distressing text as his phone battery went down. Benjamin Kuo, an eagle-eyed satellite mapping enthusiast, spotted a crucial detail in a single photo shared by authorities on Facebook. Recognizing the landscape, he quickly alerted rescuers to the potential whereabouts of the missing hiker. With just a leg visible in the image, Kuo's keen observation skills led to a successful rescue operation.
The photo, if you look in the background, you can actually see there's a certain texture and pattern to what it looks like.
This demonstrates the incredible impact of technology and community collaboration. Compine was shaken by the whole incident, but he was ultimately found safe, thanks to the vigilant efforts of Kuo and the dedicated search teams.
Mr. Cho, Rene only had a small bottle of water and 2 breakfast bars on him, and he says next time he goes hiking, he's going to pack a lot more.
Car rescue.
A car plunges into the Delaware River. Good Samaritans pull the driver to safety.
A while back, a car plunged into the Delaware River, but luckily, Good Samaritans stepped in to help. It happened on South King Street in Gloucester City. Officers quickly responded, finding the car damaged and the driver inside. Despite the freezing river and strong winds, officers jumped in to rescue the unconscious woman. They performed CPR while a group of passing boaters helped get her onto their boat. Then, they brought her to a nearby dock where an ambulance took her to the hospital, where she was declared out of danger. Witnesses described the scene as dramatic and unprecedented for the area.
I was here my whole life. I didn't see nothing like this at all. It's amazing.
pilot saved from Everglades.
Air rescue unit to respond out to Max Fish Camp for aircraft down.
Can you imagine being stuck overnight in the Florida Everglades? Well, that's what happened to a pilot whose small plane crashed there. But don't worry, there's a happy ending here. The pilot was all alone on the plane when it went down, landing in alligator territory. Thankfully, he only had minor bruises. Rescuers had to pull off quite the mission. They couldn't land nearby, so they had to use a special hoist to reach the pilot sitting on top of the plane's wing. Then they hoisted both him and the rescuer up to safety. After a rough night surrounded by gators and mosquitoes, you can bet the pilot was relieved to see his rescuers.
He was out there since 4 in the morning, so it's alligators and mosquitoes and everything else that's out there.
He was rescued after 9 long hours and was taken to Memorial Regional Hospital to get the care that he needed. What a tale of survival! Loyal pup saves toddler.
Panic ensued and a police helicopter was deployed. Hovering over the farmland, the pilot picked up the heat signature that turned out to be Mason and the 2 dogs.
Next up, we have the story of 2-year-old Mason from Minnesota. Mason was playing outside when he strayed into a cornfield, followed closely by his 2 English Springer Spaniels, Bella Grace and Maddie. He was quick to get lost. As panic set in and search parties scoured the area, a police helicopter spotted Mason and his furry companions with heat-seeking technology. The chopper guided rescuers to the shivering and crying toddler, who had been lost for 3 hours. Can you imagine? 2 years old and all alone in a cornfield? But here's the best part. Bella Grace never left Mason's side, comforting him the whole time. She's a true hero, showing that dogs are a kid's best friend, especially in a cornfield adventure like this. Medal-worthy rescue. The Carnegie Medal is a prestigious honor awarded to individuals who display exceptional bravery in risking their lives to save others. It's considered one of North America's highest civilian honors for heroism. 2 teenagers, Zach Haugen and Jake Watson, were among the people who received this medal, recognized for their courageous act of saving 2 lives off the coast of San Diego in July 2020. Despite the dangerous waters, Zach and Jake didn't hesitate to jump in and rescue 2 girls who were swept into the raging waves at Sunset Cliffs. Their selfless actions demonstrate the true spirit of heroism and have rightfully earned them this esteemed accolade. A miracle rescue. Back in 2023, Davey Wright was off the coast of Florida one late June day. As the storm clouds gathered and his kayak started taking on water, Wright found himself in a terrible situation. He was all alone in shark-infested waters, where he faced the daunting prospect of survival. For 5 long hours, Wright battled exhaustion, dehydration, and the bone-chilling cold. Just when he thought all hope was lost, a glimmer of salvation appeared in the form of a passing boat. Captain Tom Cornick was on an unexpected delay due to mechanical issues. Fortunately, he spotted Wright's distress call and went into his rescue mode. With impeccable timing, he tossed Wright a lifeline and pulled him to safety. Lost diver rescued. In January of 2023, a 22-year-old diver's family erupted with joy upon spotting him clinging to buoys safe and sound. Dylan, an experienced spearfisherman, had been swept away by a powerful current off Key West, leaving his companions behind. As the Coast Guard launched a search, Dylan's family and a friend held on to hope. They were determined to find him. Their patience paid off when the guards stumbled upon Dylan's location just as the sun began to set. There was a huge moment of relief as they pulled Dylan to safety. Despite encountering reef sharks and facing the challenges of being adrift at sea, Dylan remained resilient. He improvised by building a makeshift raft from buoys and bamboo to increase his visibility. But really, it was his family's timely arrival, coupled with his resourcefulness, that led to a miraculous rescue. Rescue from troubled waters. A routine fishing trip took a frightening turn when a group of 4 found themselves battling rough seas after their boat overturned off John Brewer Reef near Townsville. They were stranded for over an hour. They clung to their upturned vessel until help arrived in the form of a helicopter rescue. Thanks to an activated distress beacon, rescuers quickly located the group. Dramatic footage captured the helicopter crew heroically lifting the stranded individuals to safety. Despite the ordeal, everyone remained in good spirits, equipped with essential emergency gear. The incident serves as a reminder of the importance of being prepared and having registered distress beacons. Luckily, all involved emerged unharmed. Icy water survival. Chicago Police Sergeant Alex Silva and his team were on a routine patrol, but little did they know they were about to embark on a life-saving mission. A frantic call for help led them to an amazing scene. A man struggling in the freezing waters of Lake Michigan with only his loyal dog, Pika, by his side. Despite the terrible conditions, Silva and his fellow officers sprang into action, determined to reach the man before it was too late. With each step, they risked breaking through the ice themselves, finally reaching the man, who was dangerously close to giving up to the icy depths. The officers used all the resources at their disposal to pull him to safety. Despite the bitter cold and numbing conditions, their teamwork and quick thinking prevailed, ensuring that both man and dog were brought to safety.
Give him the dog, right in his lap.
Wildlife turns wild ride.
3, 2, 1, load this on.
A guy was cruising down a California highway, minding his own business, when suddenly a group of deer dashed across the road. He tried avoiding them, but instead of safely pulling over, he found himself hurtling down a cliff's edge. The California Highway Patrol's Coastal Division Air Operations received a call about the vehicle teetering on the edge of a cliff, with a frantic man signaling for help. Thankfully, the CHP helicopter was on the scene, ready to assist.
3, 2, 1, load this on.
Footage shows the daring rescue mission, with the Big Sur fire chief descending to assess the situation. The driver was ejected from his vehicle during the terrifying tumble. He recounted his harrowing ordeal of spending nearly 2 days stranded on the cliffside. Despite minor scratches, the man remained very stable. Mount Everest mission. In the icy region of Mount Everest, teamwork and solidarity transcends borders and cultures. This remarkable footage captures a life-saving effort at an altitude of 5,900 meters, showcasing the collaborative spirit of mountaineers from diverse backgrounds. In this high-stakes scenario, a mixed team of Western climbers hailing from Argentina, the USA, and Italy joined forces with Sherpas to rescue one of their own. While Sherpas are renowned for their resilience and strength, even they can succumb to illness in the unforgiving terrain of Everest. What unfolds is a story of human compassion. Sherpas and climbers unite, disregarding differences, to extend a lifeline to a fellow Sherpa in need. They take turns to carry him, and finally, get him out of trouble. Quick-thinking skier. In the French Alps, 23-year-old Will Field became a hero when he spotted 2 legs sticking out from the snow. He reacted quickly and sprang into action. He realized that it was a fellow skier, a 19-year-old who was trapped beneath the heavy snow. The remote location and dense cement-like snow posed a tricky situation for the buried skier. Will's immediate response, equipped with safety gear, proved instrumental as he rallied another skier to assist in the rescue effort. Despite the challenging conditions, his decisive actions prevented a potential tragedy. They were able to save the teenager from his risky situation. Lost hiker.
Chance encounter and a stroke of luck. That equation helped save a hiker.
Back in 2022, a hiker was lost in Rockland County's Nyack Beach State Park. After spending a chilling night with temperatures plunging into the 30s, the 46-year-old was found clinging to a steep cliff by a jogger who heard faint cries for help during her morning run.
I heard somebody screaming, like, help.
The terrain was slippery, so the rescue crews carefully lifted him to safety. The hiker had set out around 1:30 p.m. the previous day, causing his wife to report him missing 3 hours later. Despite a county-wide alarm and search efforts, it was the jogger's keen ears that led to his discovery.
It's
common for hikers to get injured on the trails, but not go missing overnight.
Hanging for life. A 69-year-old man went missing off the coast of Japan in 2022. The man, whose identity remains undisclosed, was sailing solo near southwestern Kagoshima on his way to Yakushima Island when his boat overturned, which led to a terrifying situation. Despite the harrowing ordeal, the man managed to contact a colleague on the island for help. However, it wasn't until nearly a day later that rescuers spotted him on top of the engine of his upturned vessel. He was hanging onto a propeller part for support. The Coast Guard was amazed by his resilience, considering he was almost 70 years old. Dramatic footage captured the moment rescuers approached him, reassuring him of their imminent arrival as he held on desperately. Wrapped in a gray plastic sheet for warmth, the man's survival defied the odds, leaving everyone astounded. Open discussion.
You know, it's just the last known sighting of her being alive, walking into that area.
Paula Miranda Rosa is a Florida resident who went missing on December 17, 2021. Ever since then, her family has been tirelessly searching for answers. She was last seen swimming in the Wekiva River on December 18th, identified by family in hiker footage. Even after 2 years, Paula's whereabouts remain unknown. Despite extensive efforts, including a 3-day search involving over 150 law enforcement officers, no trace was found. Paula's family resorted to various measures, from distributing flyers to using cadaver dogs in their quest for closure. Her car was found at Wekiva Springs State Park. That was reportedly the last time she was seen. After an extensive search, the case went cold. Concerns about her mental health add complexity to the case, as she battled schizophrenia and bipolar disorder.
Don't be afraid to share it, even if it's wrong, like if it's somebody else. We want her home.
Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.